good, y'all? It's your boy Jay back at it again. Today we got with Spider-Man Surviving Gotham by Mo Schmo. Follow me on both Jays here and Jays there. Get tapped on my socials. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
To you.
Do not go there.
Oh, come on. It can't be that bad.
Peter, I'm warning you, man. They have this guy. He's like a clown.
You're scared of a clown? What are you, 5?
No, Peter. He's a homicidal maniac.
So are you. Okay. Can he fly?
No.
Is he super strong?
No.
Does he have any powers at all?
Well, no, but my point is...
My predicts, if this is regular Gotham, Peter Parker sweeps, honest to God. No to low diff. No to low diff. I ain't gonna lie. Because not only Peter Parker may not have Batman's access to resources and machinery because he's broke, but in terms of overall physical stats, he's got it. He's outclassing everybody in Gotham. I ain't gonna hold you. And Peter Parker is smart as hell, so he has that as well. So yeah, it's done, bro. It's done.
If I can't make it out there, you definitely can't.
Right. Spider-Man has to be the most glazed character behind Batman, and honestly, he deserves the praise.
He's my favorite superhero of all time.
More. While Bruce has plot armor for days, like when he was able to knock the wind out of Wonder Woman.
I already made a video talking about how this nigga Batman has OD plot armor, bro. This was vid on the main channel, bro. The fucking Tibetan monks, nigga. I'm making a short about that, bro. The Tibetan monks are the The Tibetan monks, bro. That shit is a meme, bro. I ain't gonna lie, that's a meme, bro. Anytime Batman pulls some absolute nonsense out his arsenal, Tibetan monks.
Insane, but Peter has actual powers, so most of the time I'm not complaining when he pops off. While Spider-Man fans can be even more obnoxious than Punisher fans, it doesn't change the fact that they are on completely two different levels. I mean, here you have Frank barely making a dent when Peter actually tries. He says, "I don't want to hurt you, who do you think you are?" Now I'll try to avoid too many crossover or event books because you guys know how insane the power-ups get to make the story work. T'Challa, how the fuck are you dogging Silver Surfer right here? I'm just joking, the context actually makes a lot of sense here when you read the next few pages. While I will admit Peter has some bullshit moments here and there, he's usually holding back in these fights, and when he lets loose, it gets wicked.
Yeah, when Peter Parker actually tries, like stops holding himself back, nigga, he could punch a nigga's face off. Like there is a comic where Dr. Octopus takes control of Peter's body in some way, he punches a nigga, and his jaw just flies off. Because he's not holding back. Like, y'all need to realize that Peter Parker is significantly outstatting Batman in terms of just overall physicality.
Strength might not always be the most consistent thing there is, but I want to illuminate you all on a few key moments, and more importantly, how he would dog the fuck out of Gotham, starting with Bane.
He's dogging Bane. Nigga, regular Bane is getting his ass beat, bro. Nigga, Peter Parker is deadass bullying that nigga, bro. He's dealing with people like the Lizard, Fisk, Thompson, like, bro, it's done, bro, it's done.
Bane, whether it be absolute or mainline, is probably the biggest hurdle physically for Peter. Not only is he way too damn strong, but he's also a more...
Absolute Bane is different, I ain't gonna lie. Regular Bane is getting whooped, I ain't gonna lie. Regular Bane is getting whooped. Absolute Bane might actually be difficulty, especially if he uses the Venom. But I still believe, I'm still saying that regular Spider-Man is stronger than this absolute Batman right here. He's stronger than that absolute Batman. And plus he has web slinging. And we're not even talking about the symbiote, which actually boosts that nigga's stats and like just dogging him significantly. But nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. In terms of absolute Bane, I'm probably going... in his regular form, I'm probably going mid to high diff for Spider-Man in Spider-Man's favor. But when he turns Kaiju, Spider-Man doesn't really have any piercing attacks that could sever that nigga's spine, which could be an issue.
Martial artist, at least as good of one he can be at that size. I have no idea how he moves around so fast. I'll be discussing Absolute Bane because not only is it top of mind, but mainline Bane is absolutely easy pickings for Peter.
Yeah, that's what I said. Mainline Bane is getting his ass beat, but Absolute Bane, once he goes full Kaiju mode, like how he did when he was losing against Absolute Batman and them, I don't know how Peter Parker's going to be able to beat that nigga. Because like I said, the reason Batman won is because he has access to prep time, Absolute Killer Croc, Catwoman, Alfred, buildings. Like, Batman had all the time and resources to prepare for that. I don't know if Spider-Man has the access to resources as that Batman. Because Absolute Batman is not loaded, but he's also not, like, dead broke. Like, I'd say that Absolute Batman is middle class. Right, let's say he's middle class. Peter Parker is dead ass broke. He's poverty, nigga.
Dude lost a fight between a Batman with no gadgets and Catwoman. While I respect Selina on a combat level and pretty much nothing else, she isn't a real threat for most heroes. I do hate how they call Bane dumb in this comic. However, one of these days, most likely in the upcoming Tom King video, I'll discuss all my problems with his Batman run. When looking at the new Absolute run, it's a lot more charitable to Bane. He is a menace, truly the most terrifying.
Nah, this version of Bane is actually one of my favorite. He might be one of the best villains to come out of comics, or just like when it comes to fiction, he might be one of the best villains to come out in recent years. This nigga was terrifying, bro. The intelligence, nigga was eloquent. Like, bro, this nigga will whoop your ass and then speak about philosophy, nigga. Like, bro, just, you not Thanos,
villain we've seen so far in the comics. That might change with Absolute Joker, however. Earlier in the story, Batman struggles quite a bit fighting Bane the first time around. However, he did not fuck around the second time. Now, if you're one of the 3 people who hasn't read Absolute Batman yet, I'll give you a refresher. However, you should read it though, it's a fun time. Scott Snyder always knows how to hype up the audience every issue, but when Batman fights Bane the first time around, he had no clue what he was getting into, went in alone, and got embarrassed. I'd rather Bane just break his back again and call it there. The second and most likely final battle goes like this. So Batman baits Bane into a final battle between them.
Yeah, we can skip this. Cause we watched the video on it.
And Batman up at the altar. Bane taking too much venom pretty much ends the battle as his body turns into this. He gets dumped into the Gotham River, and then this is all that remains of him. Now Bruce only really wins here with the power of teamwork and the baddest bitch in Gotham. Could Peter raise up Selina and get her help to beat this freak of nature? Maybe. Don't underestimate him because he's nerdy. But more importantly is how Batman uses Bane's venom against him. Now I will say Batman and Spider-Man are both smart characters.
No, it's not Spider-Man being stupid. No, Spider-Man could 100% pull off what Absolute Batman pulled off from an intelligence standpoint. But from like a access to resources, like Batman had Eddie get all the venom. He had Killer Croc on standby. He had all these niggas. If we're just talking about you replace Spider-Man in that scenario, Batman in that scenario with Spider-Man. If we're just talking about just that, and you tell Spider-Man to just cook with access to Killer Croc and Selina, then obviously it's a no diff, right? But if we're talking about Spider-Man has to set this all from the jump, from the point to where he calls Bane out and says, let's run the fucking ones, then that's different.
Seen my old video titled Batman shouldn't be the best at everything, you'll know I think Batman is good at chemistry and other sciences, but nowhere near the best. It makes a world feel more real and also fair when you can only spec into one stat at max capacity. Batman's one stat should always be being a detective, and then martial arts second. Peter, however, created his own web fluid that is core to his character, so in my mind, he should be able to do advanced chemistry, advanced enough to work with Bane's venom and perhaps counteract it. I think Batman is the more tactical person who would have an easier time setting up the trap for Bane, but if Spider-Man had to fight Bane, I strongly feel like he could develop an antidote to his venom. For an example,
he definitely could. Spider-Man is a master at chemistry.
All of his chemistry know-how and how long it's been essential to his character. Let's look at this comic. We're going back in the day to the 80s, where Peter is fighting against this forgotten villain by the name of Goldbug. He does exactly what you think he does, turns people into gold. He honestly reminds me a lot of Ted Core and Blue Beetle. He even has a bug-shaped ship. Now, Peter's university borrows some gold because he's doing some experiments. His research paper was so impressive that they gave him hundreds of thousands of dollars of gold. Of course, Goldbug needs that. After he puts all these people in a gold cocoon and leaves in his ship, Peter incredibly quickly develops a chemical to not only melt through the gold, but to leave the human skin unharmed. I'm not smart enough of a person to know how impressive that truly is, but it definitely leads me to believe that he could reverse engineer a steroid. While Spider-Man definitely has the science skills to beat Bane, when it comes to the physical battle, Peter would most likely be able to escape Arkham as he's fought Venom countless times, and Venom is also...
Yeah, he's definitely... Like, all I'm saying is that Batman is having a way harder time against Venom than Spider-Man is having against Absolute Bane. I'm just saying, from a physical standpoint, nah. Spider-Man has reb shooters. He has better physical strength. He fights Venom, nigga.
also this incredibly
Bigger. If Venom was in Gotham, that is a fucking problem.
strong regenerative villain. Would he be able to beat Bane on pure strength? I don't know, but I do think he's smart enough to realize the glowy green juice is giving him his powers and how to handle that. Moreover, Bane and the scientists he was working with were salivating at the idea of Bruce becoming his replacement. If he saw Peter, he'd lose his mind. This is most likely a 50-50 fight in the Absolute Universe, and in the main one, it's a wash. However,
Definitely.
a difficult fight for
Absolute Universe, I'm going extreme Diff and Spider-Man. But that's just because Bane can go to a fucking kaiju size. But if we're talking absolute, oh yeah, Spider-Man
Peter
absolutely
is the one you
bodies that
expected.
nigga.
That is Joker with all his ridiculous plot armor.
Yeah, Peter Parker's washing that nigga Joker. I don't want to hear anything because you gotta realize that Peter Parker doesn't have a no-kill rule like Batman does. Like, there are several times where Spider-Man deliberately thinks, I'm just gonna let this nigga die. Like, I'm gonna just kill this nigga. Spider-Man does not have a no-kill rule, bro.
No matter how you feel about Joker, he doesn't lose much, at least for long. It's actually illegal to make him lose a fight without some aura farming moments. Joker somehow survived this helicopter crash and returned less than a year later. I've said it before and I'll say it again, dude has some insane plot armor. Even though he shouldn't be able to stand a chance against Peter, if they were ever to cross over, you know how that would go. However, I want to go over a few things with Joker, his chemistry skills and Joker gas, his durability and strength, and probably the most obnoxious development in recent times, his genius little intellect. I've spoken about this a few times, but it really does represent everything wrong with modern Joker. During the whole R&R bullshit.
Alright, bro, I'm gonna just tell you right now. The reason I have a problem with Batman's no-kill rule in recent years is because the Joker and even his rogues to an extent have gotten so bombastically more evil and like just more nuisances. Like, nigga, the Joker now has super intellect. He's even more murderous. He's even more psychotic. That it gets to a point where it's like, Batman, why aren't you killing these niggas? Like, the no-kill rule definitely makes sense if we're talking about a hero. Like, you want to keep trust with Commissioner Gordon. You want to save people. You not want to be like the person that ended your parents' lives. I understand that. But when Joker is out here blowing up 5 city blocks, super intellect, doing all this planning, flooding Gotham, like, you gotta smoke him, bro.
With Failsafe and Batman's mentor, we get into issue 146 of Batman 2016, where the most egregious level of Joker wank was put into an event designed to reinforce the idea that Joker is as intelligent, if not more intelligent, than Batman.
I don't know why they did that shit. Why they made the Joker a fucking super intellect. The only comic series where it's worked is Absolute Batman. Because it makes, like, because they not only made Joker super smart, they changed everything about the nigga. But yeah, he still feels like, because the Joker in Absolute Batman is the final boss. Like, to me, Bane is the nemesis to Batman. His arch nemesis, his rival-ish. Meanwhile, the Joker is the absolute, like, he's the final boss, right? Demon form, centuries old, billionaire. Like, they changed so much about the Joker that's believable. But Joker just being fucking ultra smart makes zero sense.
Now, I always thought Joker was much dumber than Batman, just chaotic in nature. Like, in my mind, it's easier to destroy something than to create it or even protect it. Whereas Joker doesn't need much intellect to improvise dangerous and cruel pranks for his amusement, Batman has to have considerably higher intellect to not only figure out what he's doing, but how to stop it, and more importantly, stop it without any casualties. However, as the stakes keep getting higher and higher, we need to power scale Joker. So it starts by recapping the history as we know it for Joker, how he came across some of Batman's contingency plans, and more importantly, how he activated Failsafe. Joker is able to create a chemical so advanced that it tricks Batman, the world's greatest detective, into thinking he killed someone. While I dislike making Joker the super genius character, I do have to say his chemistry skills have been a pretty consistent thing with him because of his iconic Joker gas. I always figured he'd have to know how to do a few things around the lab to be able to create so much of it. We could even see panels where he's described to be able to create the iconic gas just from common household cleaning agents. So while I think it's a little BS Joker can create a simulated death chemical, it's the least BS thing he's done in a while. Here comes the worst line here. Penguin was afraid Joker would kill him, but then the narration says this: Joker, despite his murderous tendencies, likes his playthings to live. If he didn't, we'd all be dead.
Oh my fucking, yo, Joker dick suck. Bro, I talked about Batman armor. Joker's plot armor might be worse than, I swear to, bro, the amount of absolute just, the writers be doing on this nigga Joker. Like, they think that this nigga Joker is Eisen, bro. Like, this nigga like that, he's not. He is not like that. Like, that's my problem with Joker, my nigga. they try to make this nigga like an ultra super genius. Like, I'm not saying Joker gotta be stupid, but Batman has to be smarter than Joker to make up for Joker's chaotic nature. Like, Batman needs to be smart enough to be able to not only figure out what Joker's doing, but to stop that shit with as many, well, if little casualties as possible. Fuck you mean this nigga, if he didn't, we'd all be dead. Like, what are we talking about?
Insane levels of jerking. I mean, unruly
like,
levels
like, nigga, no air, just using tongue. He got the whole shaft in his mouth. Gargling that shit, bro. God damn.
dick riding. He was supposed to be the funny guy, and now he's God. They lay it on so thick with the next line saying, "The two of you are the most dangerous men on the planet. Everyone lives because you simply haven't decided to kill them."
Bro, keep in mind, these is regular niggas. These niggas are not superhuman. These niggas do not have no special superpowers, and yet they're the most dangerous men on the planet, bro. Oh my god. Yo, the Batman Joker meat writing has to be studied, bro. Like, we need to run tests on how it got to this point, bro, because this shit is ridiculous.
Now, Batwink is one thing, but he at least spent years training with the best of the best. Joker just falls into a vat of acid and transforms into the scary suit. Now that I've spoken about the chemistry...
I ain't gonna lie, yeah, Joker Wink is worse, because at least with Batman, you have the argument that this nigga spent years mastering his mind, his martial arts, is a billionaire, so he has access to these resources, he's intelligent, raised by Alfred. You have at least an argument, like an essay, to where you could justify Batman Wink. Like, oh, that nigga trained with Tibetan monks. He was trained by the best of the best. You know, he spent years mastering himself. Like, you see it right here.
Wink is one thing, but he at least spent years training with the best.
Like, you see this nigga training in a waterfall, getting stronger, mastering. He's meditating. Nigga, Joker just fell into some gas, and now this nigga's God? Like, what?
Best of the best. Joker just falls into a vat of acid and transforms into the scary suit. Now that I've spoken about the chemistry know-how and intellect, let's talk about the most problematic thing with Joker, his superhuman and insane durability. Bruce, in my mind at least, takes supplements.
Yeah, Bruce at least takes supplements, trains regularly, all that. Nigga, how is the Joker keeping up with Batman physically? I don't understand that. Like, Joker is surviving plane crashes, whole explosions. Like, how, my nigga?
Steroids, drugs, and whatever training to keep his body in tip-top shape. And even then, we can see all of his scars and damage. Joker can tank literally any beating from any member of the Bat family, and even though he is scrawnier, weaker, and should be more fragile than any regular goon, he somehow survives 10 times longer than that.
Doesn't make any sense. This nigga is weak, frail. I've never seen the Joker lift any weight, take any supplements. I haven't seen this nigga Joker do any physical training, and yet you're going to convince me that this nigga is taking these hits from Batman and Nightwing and all them. It makes zero sense.
To of course draw the plot out. This is why I really like the line in Joker's 5-Way Revenge, where after Batman tries to fight the Joker, he goes like, "You'll get no battle from me. I may be insane, but I'm not crazy." What a good joke, and honestly the right sentiment. However, I think Spider-Man should be able to easily beat the fuck out of Joker since Batman can. It's just a matter of how much plot armor he has to overcome. In the ideal world, this is a wash. It's a comic where Joker and Peter fight for the punchline. At the end, Joker is grumpy, everyone likes Peter's jokes more, and he gets whipped up. The most similar villain to Joker is Goblin probably, but Goblin has actual powers. I know people say Joker has enhanced durability.
Yeah, Goblin has a fucking suit. Goblin was literally popping pills and drank that made him superhuman in both intellect. Norman Osborn was popping pills that made him fucking super in both physicality and strength and the suit, nigga. Like, that's it. There's a difference
From the acid, but Goblin is definitely tougher. I'll tell you who's tougher than both of them, however. It's DC's favorite island owner, Slade Wilson. I know, Slade is not a Batman rogue. He really shouldn't even be in Gotham. It's just that I spoke about him in the last video and I have him top of mind. More importantly, I'm thinking about doing a Taskmaster video, and these guys are relatively similar in their design. Only Taskmaster is actually pretty chill sometimes. I won't pretend that Slade's enhancements are able to match Spider-Man's powers. It does put him above Taskmaster in the physical arena, whereas Taskmaster is better at fighting because of his copycat power. I do want to quickly set the bar of how busted Deathstroke is sometimes. He's been able to dog the fuck out of Batman, his reaction speed somehow lets him be able to hit a speedster, and most surprisingly he's been able to draw blood from a Kryptonian-like being, Con Keenan, so he's not a pushover at all. When it comes to a 1v1 between the two, Spider-Man does have a hard time here and there with highly skilled fighters. Most people think his spider sense will fill in the gaps for him, but it's been shown to not work as well as you'd think. While Spider Sense will always try to help him in battle, if someone else like Deathstroke can also react incredibly fast, it's a lot more even than you'd think. In Giant Size Spider-Man issue 2, we can see Peter fighting these martial arts goons, and he beats them, but they get a few hits in.
Yeah, my nigga Peter need to train with in terms of overall combat skill, I'm definitely giving that to Batman. Batman spent years training with monks to be the best of the best when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. Spider-Man didn't.
Then we cut to Shang-Chi fighting these Spider-Man branded goons, and of course he doesn't get hit. This is the problem.
My nigga Peter Parker trained with the Tibetan monks, it's over. Nigga, it's done. Yo, he trained with the Tibetan, oh no.
Enemies who can outskill you and dodge your attacks.
Done.
It's that even if you're stronger, faster, more durable than them, if they don't get hit, they can take all the time in the world to beat you. Some plot stuff happens, it doesn't matter, but Spider-Man and Shang-Chi finally fight. Shang-Chi gets the first hit, but Spider-Man recovers quicker than he expected and kicks him in the head. Then Peter gets tossed around by his ankles and slammed into this wall. The next panel has him dazed and confused. Shang-Chi tells Peter to surrender, and Spider-Man of course says no. Then we get a great back and forth. Shang-Chi strikes the wall, making this huge dent, and Spider-Man is like, that could have been my chest, man. Whacks him over the head and then misses the next one, letting Shang-Chi do another judo-like move. Now they both keep going like this for a while, back and forth, dodging and throwing each other. Peter webs him up and Shang-Chi breaks out of it. Peter avoids the fight as he figures out that they've been tricked. Then he purposely stands in the way of Shang-Chi's kick, hoping he'd surrender, and he does. Now this comic was before a lot of the power scaling stuff Shang-Chi had, so he was maybe peak human, I'd say, comparable to modern Deathstroke, maybe even less powerful. But even then, Spider-Man says if that kid connected, they'd be scraping him off the walls. Even though Frank can make a dent in Spidey, I think Slade might have better chances. For now, I put the odds closer to Peter winning, just because these days he has some pretty impressive tech, and if he brings anything outside of his standard web shooters, it's wraps. Now we've spoken about his strength, durability, intellect, and reflexes. I want to talk a bit more about his psyche. How would Spider-Man fare against fear gas? Scarecrow is a villain people underestimate because truthfully he's been made a little bit obsolete. Scarecrow has fear gas, okay, we have Joker gas. Scarecrow has these psychological mind games, so does Hugo Strange, and he does them a lot better. Scarecrow's fear gas in my mind should be made much stronger than Joker's, mainly because he doesn't have much outside of that. Now if you've played the Arkham games, you know how obnoxious it must be to fight under the influence of it. However, Spider-Man fights against a similar kind of villain, Mysterio. While Mysterio doesn't poison you, he does confuse you with his illusions, in the same way Scarecrow's fear gas can make you see things that aren't really there. Whether it be in the movies, games, or comics, Spider-Man has been able to fight out of that consistently. Here in this panel, he has these lenses that are giving him a look into what's actually happening with Mysterio's illusions, so even if his spider sense went haywire again, his tech skill should be able to fill in those gaps. Now to give his spider sense some credit here, let's look at Web of Spider 2009. In this 3-part story, we have this random villain named the Extremis. Really weird design, but I kind of like it. Basically, the dude can become invisible, intangible, and is completely insane. Now what's funny is this guy breaks into Peter's apartment pissed off and says, "Maggots, you are not fit to lick Spider-Man's boots, much less take his picture." Dude,
nigga dick suck? Yeah, holy dick suck.
Is the biggest Spider fanboy, and honestly, I can't blame him. Michelle, Peter's roommate, is like, look out, because she can see him, but Peter, even with a gun pressed to his head, can't notice him. Then at the last possible second, he dodges what looks like a laser-based weapon instantly. That feat is insane. Now, you should read this 3-issue story. He's a very unique and strange villain. He's super into Spider-Man. He even says that he's the ideal man at one point. The dick riding is crazy.
Oh, God. Yo, the dick, now we gotta read some of these. Now the dick ride is crazy. Yes, leave woman, you are not the target.
Spider-Man, he even...
You, the ideal man. You are the ideal man to which all men should strive to guide their choices of life. I do what you cannot and should not. I eliminate those who drag you from your rightful pedestal down to the gray. Your aura! Oh no, that nigga dick suck. Yo, that nigga dick crazy. Boy, that nigga said your aura. Oh no, unnecessary dick riding. 10 yards back. 5-yard, 10-yard penalty.
Says that he's the ideal man at one
point. Oh my
God. The
God.
dick riding is crazy. So if Peter can dodge lasers with his sense, he can definitely dodge whatever weak-ass punches Scarecrow throws. However, after Bane and Joker, there aren't really too many villains in Gotham I think Peter needs to be afraid of. The only one I can think of is...
It's Bane, fucking... Bane for his physicality and intelligence, Joker for his psychoticness, Scarecrow for his fear toxin, Deathstroke for his hand-to-hand combat skills. After that... What? Poison Ivy? Penguin? Killer Croc? No, bro. Lizard is not only stronger than Killer Croc, but he's more intelligent. That's a wash.
Strangely similar to a villain he faces often. Let's talk about Clayface. Clayface is definitely one of Batman's most durable rogues. In some iterations where he's not the main big bad, he can get taken out fairly quickly with electricity. However, in the comics, it's not as cut and dry. I spoke about Feet of Clay in the Punisher video, but in that fight he gets bombed multiple times, frozen by liquid nitrogen, and the only way he loses is by Poison Ivy doing some magic green bullshit. Moreover, his durability is stupid. Most Clayface appearances have him taking no damage from physical attacks for the most part. Here we have Supergirl, a Kryptonian, barely making a dent. Another time when he was disguised as Cheetah, he was taking hits from Wonder Woman. Now, with Peter's plan of attack probably being the same he'd use for Venom, it's important to see how those fights usually go. Because Peter is such a talkative and comedic hero, Venom gets distracted in fights and is easily angered with Peter's jokes, and loses because of a weakness like sound or fire depending on the comic. Now, what I find interesting is how dysfunctional Eddie and Venom can be. There are times where Venom just ditches Eddie outright. Ouch. While Clayface is lucky he doesn't have this problem, he still has some weaknesses, mainly really hot fire or liquid nitrogen. I do think Spider-Man would lose in a random encounter, but depending on the amounts and types of spider gadgets he has, he could either win or just escape to concoct a good plan. And truthfully, depending on the Clayface, he isn't that smart. If Peter can use his science know-how to dissolve his clay, he'll lose immediately. Overall, I don't really see how Peter doesn't clear out Gotham. If we're talking about the main...
He's clearing out the streets, and don't even talk about Black Suit. Oh, nigga, Black Suit, oh my gosh, nigga, within a week, that shit gonna have, nigga, the sky gonna be cleared, the Townsend's gonna be cured, nigga, Batman and Spiderman, you give them niggas a week in Gotham, oh yeah, that shit getting cleared up, bro. Nigga, all of them niggas is getting packed. I mean, if it's Black Suit Spider-Man, oh my gosh, I made a video on Black Suit Spider-Man. Niggas is dying, bro. Niggas is getting packed up, bro. He gonna pull up on Joker. Joker could crack them weak-ass jokes. Spider-Man's gonna kill that nigga, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It's
universe and the main rogues. I didn't touch on people like Penguin for obvious reasons, the Riddler because Joker is as smart as he is these days. Unfortunately, I didn't touch on the magic characters because I don't like magic that much. I enjoy power scaling a little more than I'd like to admit, but magic is impossible to understand. I don't know how impressive the feats are, I don't know the weaknesses. Doctor Strange can either be the most powerful guy in the universe or straight fodder. I don't know. If you guys have any other characters that should run the gauntlet, or any villains that I missed here.
Hey, that was a good video. Shout out my dog, man. But with that being said, it's your boy Jay. Stay healthy, stay blessed, and I'm out.